Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is dropping very, very soon, and today we are going to be talking about a conversation that a lot of people have rightfully criticized this type of game for, which is FOMO. If you don't know what that is, you probably do. You might just not know the abbreviation. That's fear of missing out. The idea is essentially this. When I go and play Fortnite, which is a game I actually enjoy, if I miss something in a season, that thing is just gone. You know, like the symbiote Spider-Man. That skin is gone because it was in a battle pass, and now that season is over and has been over for a long time. People were worried about that with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League for several reasons. First off, it is a live service game. Secondly, it was originally confirmed to be online only, with only now later on them announcing that they are doing a patch in order to preserve the game offline, which has its own problems. You know, if you're not putting that on disc and in the future that patch is not available for some reason, well, then you have a problem with game preservation. That's the kind of stuff we're going to talk about today because Suicide Squad has dropped some interesting new information. Like, for example, the game is only going to be 45 gigabytes big at launch. Hopefully that stays small because games are not optimized well for file size nowadays. I truly think a lot of them want to take up most of your hard drive so that that's the game that you play for a long time. But that's actually a W. That's a good thing that they're doing. There's also a lot of new information coming out about how the Battle Pass system works, the fact that you will be able to go back and get these things later on, even if you miss a season, that you can go back, get that Battle Pass after the season ends and still unlock those things. We're going to be talking about that today in more depth because personally, I still have a few concerns about the preservation of this game in a universe that was mainly a single-player universe based on storytelling. There has been a lot of valid criticisms around this game, like I said before. I think a lot of people are really ride or dying for this game before it's out, and they really think they're defending the multi-billion-dollar company. But I also do agree that there has been some unfair criticism against the game where people don't want to like it before it's out. So we're going to take a look at that today. We're going to take a look at the game preservation of it. Before we hop further into it, I do have my unrelated question of the day, but this does help drive engagement on this channel, and I actually read your answers and I find them very interesting. My question is, what do you prefer, dogs or cats? Or is there a niche pick for a animal friend in your house that you like more than either of them? Like maybe you're a big hamster guy. I want to hear that down below and why, because I'm actually interested. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We will also be playing through Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League on my other channel, Degenerate Plays, where I actually play through games Let's Play style. Right now, we're kind of wrapping up on Spider-Man 2. We're also playing Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories, so we're having a fun time over there. We play through games podcast style and have a lot of fun. And I also did recently start a new channel, JayRPG, where I cover things like RPG games like Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, the Soulsborne franchise, and more. That's all in the description down below. There's a lot of stuff down there, but we'll talk more about that at the end of the video. So one big, very, very fair criticism I believe around this game has been FOMO. It's the idea of, well, what if I miss this? What if I get this game later? What if I am busy? You know, like there's a lot of people who miss out on stuff because they go through cycles of their life. Am I going to be able to go back later on? And they did actually address this very well in a Q&A answer, but I do still have a couple concerns. In response to the question, how does the Battle Pass work? They responded that the Battle Pass will be cosmetics only, which we did know, have both a premium and free track, and a new Battle Pass will be released with each season. The first Battle Pass will be released with the launch of Season 1, a few weeks after the game's initial release. There will be 75 tiers to complete in Season 1's Battle Pass, and included within will be outfits, emotes, banners, swatches, and some premium currency. This can be used to purchase cosmetic items in the store or go towards purchasing future premium Battle Passes, which is similar to how Fortnite handles it, or similar to how actually many games handle it at this point. We're also happy to announce that you will be able to go back and play previous Battle Passes after a season ends. We believe that our team has created some of the best looking cosmetic items ever, and we want those to be available for our players to enjoy without fear that they'll miss out on anything. And as a reminder, each season will have a new playable character, a new Elseworld to explore, loads of new gear, new missions to play, and more, all for free. The Premium Battle Pass is an optional extra for those who want to look extra fly while kicking some Brainiac butt. And keep in mind, all purchasable items are completely optional and do not affect gameplay in any way. This is something that I think more people should be talking about positively, but I don't think that this alleviates every concern about the game, mainly because of the history of the franchise. You can look at this game as its own game, and I think that that's great. It is still part of an overall franchise by taking place in that world. My biggest concern right now, though, is the preservation of this game later on. Good or bad, amazing or terrible, will this game be preserved? What happens to this content when the game goes offline permanently? Yes, we know that there is going to be an offline mode patched in. I already talked about the benefits of that, but also the unfortunate aspect of it not being there at launch right away on disc for preservation. But that's something we're going to talk about here, is preservation of the game, because I do think that this game does deserve to be preserved no matter what it ends up as, and I'm wondering what's going to happen to people who do spend money on this stuff early on, or who don't. You can go back to these battle passes, but if servers go down in 2 or 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever, if you want to go back and experience this game, are you going to be getting the entire thing? Are you going to be getting these cosmetics? Are you going to be able to get this content? Or is it going to be something where you're only able to get a dumbed down version of the game, which has been patched for offline? I still think that's a fair question about what the end game is, or the end goal of this game is going forward after the cycle of its life. Game preservation, by the way, does not just apply to games that you personally like. A lot of people make this mistake. Like for me, if I look at a game like League of Legends, which I personally don't care for, even though the girls are really, really hot in it, great character design they're doing and some amazing music and stuff, that's not my type of game. It's very hypocritical, though, for me to say I care about game preservation, but I don't care about League of Legends being preserved. When you care about game preservation, you care about game preservation. You care about people being able to go back and interact with this art, with this interactive medium, with this entertainment medium, and actually have a fun time. When you care about media preservation in movies, you don't just care that they preserve The Shining because it's a great Stanley Kubrick film, you also care that they preserve Transformers 2 Revenge of the Fallen because it's still a film, it's still art, and even if you think it's total crap, it still deserves preservation. That's kind of my big concern with this game, because something that has already happened with the Arkham franchise is a lack of preservation at times with certain things. For example, Batman Arkham Origins got delisted from Xbox and a lot of digital storefronts. It stayed up on PC, but a lot of digital storefronts, for a long time, it has been unavailable. Unless it randomly came back in the last week and a half since I checked, that is not a good thing. Where now the only way to get that on a lot of platforms is the disc. That's why game preservation is important. That's actually a perfect example, I think, for this crowd who's watching this video of a game that you would care about if it wasn't preserved, even if it's your least favorite or most favorite Batman game. The fact that without a disc would be hard to come by is not a good thing. So it's a good thing when they're talking about battle passes being able to be re-explored, being able to go back to a season you missed and get it again. Whereas with Fortnite, you miss something, a lot of times it just means you missed it. That sucks. And a lot of games are going in that direction. Why are they doing that? Because it sells. Because a lot of people have kind of like an ADHD brain now, where they jump from thing to thing to thing to thing and they don't look back. That's the unfortunate thing, I think. I genuinely think gamers have kind of enabled this system because they don't go back to old games a lot of times anymore. They don't care about preservation. A lot of them, not everybody. And hopefully not a lot of people who are watching this channel feel that way. But that's something that really frustrates me, is a lot of people consume a game right now like a cheeseburger or like a fast food item. They consume it, they digest it, they shit it out, and then it goes down the toilet and it's gone. They don't put the game on their shelf and go back to it in 5 years. They don't care. Unfortunately, when you have things like the Arkham mobile game, or you have things like the Arkham Origins online, once those servers are shut down, it's way more, difficult to actually do that. In some cases, just making achievements or trophies not unlockable anymore and making entire pieces of content unplayable for you. That sucks. So my question with all of this is how this will work when the game does inevitably shut down. Avengers did a good job of addressing the idea of shutting down. Whether it was a great game or not is going to be up to you. But that game actually did do a good job of taking all the microtransaction stuff and kind of patching it so you can just play the game on your own and get it now. They did go on to confirm a lot of stuff about how you can play this campaign over and over. You can go back to different missions, you can play it single player, co-op, etc. And those are great things, but I guess I'm still kind of worried about what happens when this game does inevitably shut down. That's the thing, is that basically every single game that has an online component will inevitably be abandoned. There will be people who preserve it. There will be people who try and reverse engineer servers. There will be people who try and bring it back because they have an emotional connection to it. But that's the way it is, especially for a lot of more niche games. Now, this game is not niche, but that does not mean that it will be around in 50 years. Maybe we won't be, but just because we might not be doesn't mean that the preservation of this game doesn't matter. So I guess my question is, once this game shuts down, say it's in 5 years, 10 years, whatever, will you still be able to get these cosmetics? Will you be able to use them all offline? How will this actually work? Will they patch it by then? And we do also know that WB has actually pushed for more of an online, more of a games as a service idea, more of an ecosystem around that. That's kind of my concern with this game still, is that I really do think people should be acknowledging that this is a good thing. You know, more games should do this just for consumer friendliness, for the idea of not wasting player time and not trying to drag you back in every single season in order to get you to play for 3 weeks, spend $100 and then dip out. That's really what a lot of games want, is they want you to treat it like Netflix, like a subscription that you keep paying for, you drop in, you pay for it, maybe you use it for a month, but you're going to keep paying anyway, and so they can kind of do what they want with it. I don't personally want that out of games, and that's kind of why I'm concerned about it, is because I've seen a lot of creators, especially, who seem very, very, very hell-bent on like this game being like their ticket to success, which is frustrating to me because I don't really think you should treat games that way. You should only treat games that way if they're out and you know that you love them. Until it's in your hands and you have played the final copy, the final edition of the game, you can't really know that. I've seen a lot of people throw around things like there will be no FOMO at all, no fear of missing out, no matter what. But unless this is addressed, there is still the question of game preservation, of what happens if someone goes back to it in a few years. And just because somebody doesn't hop on something day one, it doesn't mean that they don't deserve to be able to experience the game. So I guess that's kind of my concern with all of this. It's great stuff that we're hearing about the file size. It's great stuff we're hearing about the Battle Pass system, being able to go back. But my question is, what is the end game idea for this game? What is the long-term preservation idea for this game? This is a universe that people very, very deeply care about, and I do think that their opinion deserves to be respected. A lot of these people grew up playing stories in this world. They care deeply for these characters. They care deeply for how they're treated. They care deeply if it's done respectfully or not. They do care if the first time we are seeing the Justice League, we're just murdering them. Or they do care if the last time their favorite Batman actor gets to voice the role, if he's going to be respected. They do care if they're going to be able to go back and experience this game in the future, the same way that they've enjoyed the rest of their favorite series of video games. And I think those are all fair criticisms and fair questions that until there is a full answer on, we don't know, and those things are okay to ask. It doesn't make you a hater. It doesn't make you a piece of trash. It's okay to kind of worry about that. Likewise, on a closing note, I do think it's okay to be excited about this game. But when it comes down to it, whether I love this game, hate it, or just kind of find it mid, I still think it deserves to be preserved, and I'm waiting to see what will happen with that overall conversation, because it's something I think a lot of people are missing out on. A lot of people are not looking at the big picture of that preservation topic and what this game will be in a few years. That's kind of my biggest concern, because inevitably everything with online support does become not worth it at some point. That is just how it works. Gamers move on to something else, and then people just go back to games to enjoy them in smaller numbers. At that point, it's not worth these companies, even if they're massive, paying for the servers to stay up. Now, I think they should for preservation, but they don't care. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. I'm interested to hear your thoughts down below, what you think about the whole situation, because I do think that it's interesting. I think there's a lot of good here, but I also do think that there are some very fair questions that a lot of people are not asking and are just deeming as people being haters. And I think that that's kind of too bad, and I think that that's a very weird way to look at a game that's not even out. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Speaking of games as a service, I actually do have a Fortnite creator code, DJAY123, which you can use in the shop on there. I also do have as well that same code that you can use on our store, cosmobunny.shop, if you want to get 10% off your order. We have a lot of fun stuff over there where we take comic books and manga that have been damaged, that can't really be sold anymore, and we turn them into transformative art pieces with coasters made out of resin. We do also have trays, keychains, all kinds of stuff. New stuff is being added every month. And also we do actually have as well a Discord server where we talk and hang out, and several other channels in the description down below I hope you'll check out. Have a fantastic day. I hope to hear from you in the comments. Dogs or cats, let me know. As always, everybody, stay shui.